Got an injury or want to prevent one? Hey, I'm Debra Atkinson. I've been doing this for 41 years for other people, 43 for myself, and every once in a while, even the best of the best and those who train the trainers internationally can get a weak side, one side weaker than the other. In this video, I'm about to show you what I've been doing to strengthen my glute medial muscle in the side of the hip and protect the knee that is giving me the messages that my weak glute needed some attention. Isn't that strange? But it's true. A lot of times we go directly to the joint and we say, oh, my knee's bothering me. I need knee strengthening exercises. And you might. But a lot of times we look upstairs and downstairs. So you may need to look at your ankle or your foot or your hip. And making sure that your hips are equally strong from right to left can prevent a lot of things from going wrong, either at your knees and or at your lower back. So jump in. I'll show you 3 exercises that I'm doing on the daily. I'll show you one more that's a little bit more challenging for those of you that want it. On the flip side, I'll tell you how often, how many, and what you can expect when you truly improve your balance and your core from your knees to your shoulders. You can see I'm using a band here, and actually I'm making do. This is a long tubing, it's got handles on it. I've just managed to slip the handles through each other. Now my right leg is the front leg. It's the one that's causing problems. That is the one you want away from the post where you're anchoring. I'm in a lunge position, my front foot flat on the floor, and this is really important. Your heel needs to be down, but so does your big toe. You want to be pushing through both and making sure that you are really pressing into the ground solidly or the floor before you rise up. So you're going to come down into that position, maintaining that knee, pressing out. It's really pushing out even though you don't see it moving because it has the resistance pulling it in. You're going to hold that down position just for a couple of seconds. Press that heel into the ground and then rise up. And the more you feel this is not quite firing or I'm not feeling it in my glute, pause a little bit longer at the bottom. The alternative to increase the difficulty here would be holding a weight in my left hand close to the instep of that foot. So you're going to do 8 to 10 or the good ones and then take a break. Now I've slipped my feet out of that band. What I'm doing is against a wall. In this case, I'm just using the pergola leg. So realize that I could be against a wall here. But notice my posture, my foot, my knee, my hip, my shoulder, all in alignment. If it were not, I would be cheating. So you're keeping me honest by watching this, and ideally you're videotaping yourself or you're doing this in front of a mirror so you can also see for yourself. If you get tired, you're going to start leaning toward one side or the other, and you're going to probably make sure that it's a little bit easier because you get tired. So when that glute gets tired, know that your posture will go. So what I'm doing here is imagining I'm pushing the wall over, I'm pushing that pergola over, and what will happen is you're going to feel that glute light up. So you're really pressing that foot. You have to brace yourself from moving. So you're going to hold for about 4 to 5 seconds, repeat it 4 to 5 times at each set. What I'd like to do is alternate the band exercise with a set of 4 or 5 of these, and then go back and repeat for my second set. And yes, you can feel it. So know that when you come back again, it'll be a little bit more difficult, or I can also say a little easier to feel the work in the right place. So you can see that my knee here is in alignment with my heel. It's not dropping in. And that means that I'm firing that glute medial muscle almost like opening a screen door, so pressing it to the outside. That is your job. A little wobbly there. And that back foot, although you're not seeing what really is happening, I'm almost dropping that knee down toward the ground, so I'm really staying low in
the glute and firing that in the front leg. My back toe is just on the floor. The heel can't be up if you're truly in a lunge. Now I'm going to bring this ball in. So this is an alternative. I can just take that knee and I can push it into the wall. I don't need any equipment, nothing whatsoever. This is another alternative, and it can make it just a little bit more difficult, but it also might make it a little more comfortable if you're pushing your knee into the wall and that just doesn't feel good. You can drop this ball down kind of between your hip and your knee and press on it instead. Now it's going to be a little bit less stable, so there is a degree potentially of difficulty and balance involved here too. The next exercise, so this is number 3, truly, you're going to come down to the floor in a bridge. Now you first brace through the core, do a little tilting so the lower back goes down, and then all at once you're going to come up into a bridge, firing the glutes, getting the four-legged animals out of your way, and notice from hips to the knees to the shoulders, nice straight line. Hold and maintain that, and then press down hard with your palms into the floor. That's going to make you fire those glutes and push your heels down before you then lift one leg at a time, just like this. Now you're lifting it, you're coming up 3 to 4 seconds, not a long hold, but what you really want to be aware of is you're not allowing your hip to fall, and you're not wanting to feel like you're lighting up your lower back. So there shouldn't be any strain there. However, on the weak glute, when I'm weight bearing on that right side, which is the weak side right now, the knee giving me some difficulty, I notice my lower back is firing. So that tells me that glute is not turning on. So I'm not going to hold it for a long time and just suffer through that lower back. It's not helping me if I'm doing that. I just want to hold it as long as the glute is working and then put it down. The glute just needs some time to come back online. It's literally as if your Wi-Fi signal has gone out and it needs a moment to reboot. So don't try to make it if it's not. Stop, pause, regroup, and then start all over again. You're going to get much better results if you do that. And eventually you'll be able to hold that for 2 and then 3 and 4 seconds and have and expect good posture all the way through. What you're looking for is getting to the time when you don't noticeably feel a difference. Your strong leg and your was weak leg are now a lot more even. They're evenly distributing the strength and therefore the work when you're doing any of your bigger exercises like squats or leg presses. And that's the important distinction. So work on keeping the hips up. You can use a mirror. You can do what we're doing here and videotape yourself. Now, if we want to go a little bit more difficult, this is for those of you that find those 3 exercises. Those are doable. And I can do it and hold good form. This is a side plank with a top leg lift. Now, the larger work here is the glute on the bottom. So in this case, I'm facing away, I'm on my left leg. That left glute medial muscle is actually working harder, even though the right leg is lifting up here. It's the bottom leg that the glute med is working most. Now, hold this position. This is much more hamstring involvement as well. We'll get that dog out of the way in a second. But what you're looking to do is maintain that plank position and keep the hips down. Now, do you notice what happened here? My hips came up a little higher.
This video was specifically related to the strength of the gluteal medial muscle, and I'm going to show you how you can do exercises. I'll show all on one side. I want you to do both sides because it gives you a great opportunity for comparison's sake. What I mean by that is if you get up and you've got a knee, say your right knee is bothering you, you may get up, you do these on either side and realize my right glute is a lot weaker than my left. Then we picked up a clue that probably says that weak glute is contributing. There may be other things going wrong, and it could initiate with the foot or the toe or the ankle, but we know we can work on this, and that actually is going to help keep your lower back much happier and keep you much more active. Everything between your knee and your shoulder is core. So it all counts. If you're thinking, I'm going to do core exercises, I'm going to do abdominal exercises, and you're missing your hips, you're missing knee strength, you're missing the alignment between all of them and how they integrate and work together, you're probably not as fit as you actually think you are. So let's focus on this. Glutes are the key to strong knees, and strong and safe lower back. Here's what we're going to do. The exercises I've given you are threefold. So I've given you the band with the knee and the lunge. You're going to do those about 3 sets of 10, work your way up. If you're just starting, 1 set of 10 may give you enough for comparison's sake to know which one is the weak one you want to focus on. If they're both weak, you can focus on both, and you may decide, my right is weak, I'm going to start with my right, do my left, but then do my right again, so I'm helping put them back into a better balance, catching this one up. It's like giving tutoring after school to the one who needs to catch up on their reading. Okay, so you're going to do that with the next one, with the standing and just stabilization and pushing. You're going to do that for a hold of about 4 slow counts, okay? Be honest with me, just 1,001, 1,002, release it, and then start again. You're going to do 5 of those at a time, take a little break, come back to that, and do it again. And that, ideally, you have a mirror or film yourself, because if you have your phone on, what you can tell is if you're leaning or leading or you're pushing yourself out. You want to keep yourself in a really good alignment. So as you bring that leg up, we shift just a little bit. Try not to shift any more than that as you're pushing that leg against the wall. Last but not least, on the mat, when you're doing that bridge up, you're going to really push your hands down. You're going to press your heels down into the mat, and then be ready. In your mind's eye, you're thinking, I'm pushing down hard, and I'm not letting this sink. I'm just going to lift that foot up, hover it off the floor, and hold it for a count of 3 seconds or so, putting it back down. Now, if you notice you're feeling strain in the lower back, it's telling you it did adjust. That muscle is not doing what it should, so you're trying to pick up the slack somewhere where you shouldn't. Put it down, regroup, take a break, do it again. And remember, before you begin with that one, you want to engage through the core and brace like somebody is about to punch you, and then lift up. From that point, push the heels down, push the hands in. That will help you brace, and then try lifting one at a time off the ground. You're just going to do a few. So you're going to do right and left 1, right and left 2, right and left 3. Take a break and sit down. And do a repeat of that. So remember, train the good ones, don't train lots of them. Now, I gave you a really complex exercise last, number 4. If you really have weak glutes, chances are you may be able to do that top leg lift. However, it may not be targeting really activation of it. So doing the pretty and the sexy exercises we all love to jump to can be a little bit dangerous, because you may get confused to thinking, I'm really strong, I can do that, no problem. And we're not actually getting those small, tiny little muscles to fire that need to. What we really are doing in some of those first 3 exercises is drawing a stronger connection between your brain and the muscles. We're getting that signal, it's a Wi-Fi signal in your house, this house, to fire stronger. And it just takes practice and really focusing on that, feeling it, pushing off with it. Do those kinds of things before you go and do anything else. So if you have a weak glute, if your knee is telling you something, it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to stop all other activity, but this would be a great wake-up call, say before you play pickleball, before you go golfing, before you go for a long walk, or before you go and do your weight training workouts. And when you're doing weight training, if you're doing anything that is incorporating lunges, you might think about not doing forward lunges. I don't love them for almost 30 years, I have not done forward lunges with any client because you have this deceleration issue that you're driving blindly and you don't know if you have a problem slowing or stopping decelerating that knee going forward, or it's not going to land in the right position. You don't know until it's too late. Instead, you can lunge, do rear lunges. So if you do that, your knee's already in good position. You just need to hold that stable, and you're not so worried about it getting out of control or out of alignment and getting worse than when you started. Hope that was helpful. If you have questions down below, let me know.